Hello, welcome to the Superbone channel. We're interviewing top trombonists from around the world to find out more about them. And next up is Shannon Barnett. Say hi, Shannon.
Hi.
Shannon is an Australian trombonist and composer and graduate of the Victorian College of the Arts. I know Shannon from high school, from Blackburn High School. In 2007, she was named Young Australian Jazz Artist of the Year at the Australian Jazz Bell Awards, and then studied her Masters in New York and played with Darcy James Argue's Secret Society, and was a regular member of the Birdland Big Band, among others, so that must have been an amazing time. In 2014, she relocated to Germany to play with the fantastic WDR Big Band and has been working there ever since. Shannon, it's great to have you on the channel. How have you been coping with isolation there in Germany?
Yeah, it's certainly been a change, just like it is for everyone, I suppose. So there are no concerts happening here at the moment, or very little concerts, only live streams and some smaller concerts before an audience of about less than 100 people or something. Yep. So I found that actually quite a shock. When it all started happening, I was actually in Australia. I was back home. Yep. And then, that was kind of stressful as well, because I wasn't sure if Germany would let me back in because I'm not a citizen. Wow. But they did, so that's nice.
That's great.
There haven't been any concerts, but I've also found it nice to be hanging around at home and actually having time to practice certain things. Yep. And also I'm kind of enjoying the challenge of teaching online, which I know a lot of people are doing. That's a whole new ball game. So I feel pretty lucky. My boyfriend, he's also a musician, and we're kind of, we're getting through it.
Great. Certainly, everyone's kind of coping with it differently, all the countries. So it's nice to hear, that, especially moving from Australia back to Germany through the whole thing. That must have been quite scary.
It was stressful because also they started closing the Australian borders, and we were really lucky and we got to fly on our originally booked flight, which was one of the only ones flying back to Europe. But when I was at the check-in counter at Melbourne Airport, they had the border force guys there saying, "Okay, you're Australian, like why are you leaving the country?" And they checked passport and my German residency and stuff. It was really strange to be at Melbourne Airport as well, and there was hardly anyone there. Yeah. Totally weird. Yeah, it's dystopian.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, let's crack on into some questions. We've been asking everyone who their favourite jazz trombonists are. Who have you got for us?
I think there are so many that I like, and so many that have influenced me for different reasons. I guess one of the big ones for me, and now I'll mention it because I am living in Germany, Nils Wogram. When I first heard him, I was living in Australia still. I was studying, I think, with Adrian Sheriff, and he played me a record of Nils called Fahrvergnügen, and I was totally blown away because it was this real modern style of trombone playing that I hadn't really checked out, and he has this amazing combination of instrument technique, but also creativity with the instrument, and he's always trying out new things, and he's incredible. And it's been great actually now being close to him because he teaches in Switzerland. I think he's living there too. But I get to hear him actually quite often because he tours around a lot, and he actually came and gave a workshop at the university where I teach as well. Gave my students some tips, which was really fantastic. So he's definitely favorite modern players. I have a huge list of jazz trombone players. I don't know how many you want to hear
about. We probably just move on, I think, because we've had a list from everyone else as well. But Nils heard some of his stuff, but definitely modern players. That's the first time someone's mentioned him. So very
cool.
Good
then I'll definitely add one more modern player.
Sure.
if we're short on those. There's another great trombone player and composer in New York called Jacob Garchick. I'm a huge fan of his. You know him already, probably.
I interviewed Scott Van Germet, and he mentioned him as his favourite.
Okay.
So he said put him onto it. So that's cool. Yes. Yeah, no, I hadn't heard him before. Scott mentioned him as well, and just the raw character he puts into his playing, I really enjoy. That it's unique.
Definitely.
Definitely. Yeah. Very good one. Next question for you, Shannon. Can you give us some of your influences in terms of your first teachers, people who really put you on the path to where you are now?
Yeah, I've been really lucky. I've had some great teachers, and that started when I picked up the trombone. I think I was about 12,
Yeah.
in country Victoria, where I come from. And my first teacher, Bryn Hills, he is a really fantastic musician. He's a multi-instrumentalist and an improviser, but he introduced us all to improvisation from a very young age. And actually, instead of having a stage band or a big band in school where you would read the music, we actually wrote all our own songs. And we just wrote, small little riffs or stuff, and he helped us put them together and make tunes. So yeah, he really normalized improvisation for me. And yeah, later when I went to Blackburn High, which is a music focused high school in Melbourne, it was a good thing to be able to do there somehow, because then we concentrated more on the note reading part of things and the technique thing. So I found and there I studied with Shannon Barnett, who's a really great classical bass trombone player. And so I feel like I had such a good start because I kind of got both sides of it. Got improvisation and creativity and freedom, and then also this kind of disciplined approach to playing the instruments. So I was really lucky in that regard, yeah.
Mm. And brilliant to get that technique side of things from a classical player. I suppose when you end up being a jazz player, but to have that to fall back on is that consistency in your technique. When you went to New York, who did you learn off there?
Oh yeah, there I was very lucky to study with John Fedchock, who's well known for being a great exponent of the bebop style, among other things. He also played in Woody Herman's band, and really amazing guy. And he's also a big band composer and arranger, so that was really special. So I studied with him trombone, and then also as part of that course, John Faddis was the jazz history teacher. Yeah. So that was pretty awesome because he's part of jazz history. So he was also really, really inspiring. He was quite demanding as a teacher, which was great too. He really pushed us. Yeah. Fantastic.
I think everyone would love to go study in New York who doesn't already live there. Fantastic opportunity for you.
Yeah, it was a really good experience.
Which probably brings us to our next question. Your amusing story about a gig that you might have done.
I think one of the strangest gigs I ever did was when I was living in New York, and I played, it was just what I thought would be normal horn section gig, backing up some singers. It was a charity event, pop stuff or whatever. And then I found out on the day of the gig, I guess, that the all-girl horn section was required to wear these floaty little white dresses, and we were supposed to be like angels, which was already strange enough. And then we'd been rehearsing all week, and I didn't really know the other people in the band. And at one stage, they had a charity auction where they dressed teddy bears, by famous fashion labels or whatever, and you could bid on them. And so there were all these, rich people there, whatever, in New York, bidding on it. And then all of a sudden, the guitarist in the band, he bid something like $7,000 on a teddy bear. I thought, musicians in New York, no one has money. What's going on? And then I realized that it was Mark Ronson, who's a really person, and I've been rehearsing with him a week and I didn't know it was him. I mean, he had a British accent, and I thought, that's cute. But so I thought, okay, he can afford a $7,000 teddy bear. That's probably true. So that was a trip. But New York was good for that, having really strange, unexpected experiences.
I was going to say, it sounds like a town that certainly isn't boring at any time.
Oh gosh, no.
So Shannon, the one thing I was really interested in is moving from New York to Germany. And of course, we all know the WDR Big Band and fantastic players that have gone through there, and so much good opportunities to play with the best in the world. But can you tell us more about the scene there in Cologne in Germany, and how you've really progressed past working with the WDR Big Band?
Yeah, well, that job with the WDR band was the reason that I moved to Cologne in the first place. And I didn't know much about the city. I don't think I'd ever been there before, other than for the auditions for the band. So when I got here, I was very pleasantly surprised to find out that there's a really strong jazz scene here. Yeah. It's quite varied, but there's only 1 million or so people living in Cologne, so it is a little bit small, of course, smaller than New York. And it has a focus, I would say, on contemporary jazz and also improvised music. But you do find pockets of other musical happenings around the place. But what really struck me was that the scene is so well organized, and there's so much happening. There's CD or record labels and initiatives and different gigs, and there's a jazz supporters group. It's really special. So yeah, I was really happy to find that, because playing in the big band was a really great experience, but also I really love playing in small group situations and other things. So was very happy to find that. And and then after about 4 years with the big band, which was an amazing experience. I mean, I got to play with some really amazing people, and I can't believe it sometimes. Pinch myself. And I learned a lot, and I really feel like in that time that my ability on the instrument also improved, because you're playing, 4 or 5 hours a day rehearsing. Depends. So just having the horn on your face all the time, that really helps. And then being introduced to all these different kinds of music. But at some point I kind of realized that environment was maybe not the exact right place for me. So I left the job, and I was lucky enough to transition over into some teaching roles and combine that with then freelancing again. And now I'm super happy. It's definitely for me a really good balance. And now I get to play in the Cologne scene, have my own projects here, and normally can travel around Europe and play. So I'm really happy, and I'm glad that I was lucky enough to get the job, because otherwise I don't think I would have ever moved to Europe really.
I mean, it's interesting coming from Australia, moving to the UK for me, and first time I went to Europe, I went to Amsterdam, and I think I ended up down in Den Haag at some point, and there was a trombonist playing in a local cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And the cafe had like 3 stories. It was quite a big cafe. And the place was packed. The place was absolutely rammed. And I was like, coming from Australia, it's the first time I'd been to Europe as an adult, and first time I'd been to a jazz gig there. And I was just so shocked that there was literally hundreds of people. I managed to find standing room on the top floor to listen to this trombonist. I couldn't even see him. And for me, that was just bonkers, because all the gigs that I'd seen, were nowhere near that in Australia in terms of normal people appreciating jazz in that way. I mean, it was buzzing. Certainly, I get a feeling that Europe has some great scenes like that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Fantastic. So in terms of moving from the big band, getting to play your own projects, was that quite freeing, quite liberating, that you could actually just be your own boss in a way?
I mean, I think although the big band, it was technically a full-time job, but we would mostly rehearse half days and then have the other half of the day to work on stuff alone. I still found it at that time I couldn't really concentrate on other projects, and it was really hard to book them, because we have a very full schedule, and especially in Europe, like a lot of the clubs and festivals, they'll book a year to a year and a half in advance, and sometimes I wouldn't have the WDR schedule, so it was kind of hard to manage those things. So when I left the band, it certainly was more freeing in terms of time, but also having space in my brain to be able to concentrate on other projects. And I feel like since I left the band that I've progressed in a way in my own music, and so I'm happy about that.
Sure. And I suppose that brings us to the last question. We'd like to kind of shine a spotlight on any current project you're doing at the moment. Obviously we've all got lots of downtime or lots of time at home to work on new stuff, so what are you working on at the moment?
Well, actually, this is quite new. I'm working on a duo project with my boyfriend. Actually, he plays double bass as his main instrument, but he plays guitar and sings and does stuff. So we've got a concert coming up next week. Although I'm not sure when this interview will be published, but so it might be already over. It might be
a few weeks back, but we'll be able to find it.
We had a concert, and it was great, on the 28th of May, and it's good. It's a live stream concert in Cologne. It's just a really short one, but I'm going to be singing as well as playing, and he's playing guitar and I think maybe bass. But so I'm focusing on that project, because we're also going to record a set of that music. So I'm really interested at the moment in trying to combine my singing with my trombone playing, not at the same time, but
well, you can.
I know, but that's Nils territory. Into the same project, trying to find a way for that to make sense for me. And I have another project which is called Wolves and Mirrors, and we're also going to be recording that this year. And it's going to sound really strange, but it's a mixture of kind of my almost pop songwriting, but with also improvisation. So that band's that's really cool. I really like playing that band. It's I'm playing trombone and singing, and then there's a cellist, improvising cellist, and a trumpet player and a drummer.
Wow.
So yeah, it's different.
That's very different.
But, so we're going to record this year, and I'm also going to record a new album with my existing quartet in Germany, which is with Stefan Karl Schmidt tenor saxophone and David Helm on bass and Fabian Ahrens on drums, and it's about time I got my ass into gear and recorded some new music with them. So so there's heaps going on. It's great. I'm feeling very fulfilled. That's
amazing. It all sounds amazing. I am such a fan of your music and everything that you've played. Every time I hear you play, I'm just so wowed by everything you do. So I want to thank you so much for coming and giving an interview. But certainly for me, everyone that I'm interviewing, I'm really blessed that I can talk to you guys about trombone, jazz, music in general. It's making this isolation for me really a great time. So I thank you again for coming on the Superbone channel.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. I hope everyone at home has learned something about you. We'll chuck some links in the descriptions of Shannon and her upcoming events and projects. So if you want to check them out, that'd be great. And thank you again, Shannon, and say goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Superbone channel. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please leave a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to hear about any new videos coming up. Please stay tuned.